Hello everyone to another reflection. I am pleased to talk to you today about Advent. And Advent means coming. And so I'd like to talk about the three comings of Christ. The first one we're very familiar with. That's the coming of Christ in his incarnation, his birth, his life, his years of ministry, his passion, death, resurrection, and ascension into heaven. And so during this season of Advent, we are anticipating the first coming of Christ, which we celebrate in a very special way at Christmas. But there's also the second coming of Christ, or what is often referred to as the second coming of Christ. And that is what we hear about also in Advent, but even prior to Advent, at the end of our ordinary time, we hear about the end of time. We hear about the second coming of Christ. He came initially in humility, when he came to be with us in human flesh, when he came in very humble surroundings with Mary and Joseph, when he came in Bethlehem. But when he comes again in glory at the second coming of Christ, he'll come with power and glory, and we'll see him coming through the clouds, and there will be it will be pretty difficult or near impossible for us not to recognize that he is God, that he is King, that he is the Lord of Lords, that he has all of this majesty, all of this glory, all of this honor at the end of time when he comes again. That's the second coming of Christ. But there's also what some early church fathers would refer to as the third coming of Christ. And that's how Christ comes to us today. And he can come to us in different ways, but in a very special way, he comes to us in the Eucharist. Body, blood, soul, and divinity, the whole of Jesus Christ. He comes to us in a way that for many people is difficult to understand, for many people difficult to recognize. In his first coming, when he came in humility, his glory, his divinity, inasmuch as he is God, was hidden behind his humanity. In the third coming of Christ in the Eucharist, not only his divinity, his godliness, but also his humanity is hidden. It's not seen through regular human eyes. Rather, we see it with the eyes of faith. By the grace of God, we are strengthened to recognize that Christ is truly present in the Eucharist. And there are many saints who attest to this, to special visions and such of recognizing Christ's presence. And there's also Eucharistic miracles that manifest this reality. So for us, during this Advent season, we are to be mindful of the comings of Christ. His first coming in humility and human form, the incarnate Word. The second coming at the end of time, the glory, when he comes again to judge the living and the dead, to give all those who remain faithful their reward for their good works, and how he comes to us even now in the Eucharist. So let us thank God for his coming and anticipate these three comings as we continue to celebrate this season of Advent.